Good morning, guys. Marina here with another algebra video. Today's lesson, which is Tuesday, April 28th, is on something called average rate of change. I already went ahead in the first problem, graphed this function, x minus 2 squared minus 1, but I also want to fill in these answers here. I have some questions on the graph. So what are the roots? Again, this is a little bit of review, which is always good. Roots is where the graph crosses the x-axis, which is in green here and here. So that is at the numbers x equals 1 and x equals 3. Or you can write them in set notation as 1 and 3. All right. The vertex is that coordinate right at the bottom of the curve, which is the coordinate 2, -1. Is that a maximum or a minimum? Well, it's at the bottom, so it's a minimum. Upwards or downwards? Well, this graph looks like a U. It's not upside down, so we're going to say this is upwards. Axis of symmetry is that line that goes down the center. And remember, that has an equation, and it's always in the form of x equals, so that's x equals 2. And the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, which is there at 0, 3. So that's just a little recap on some things we've done the past few weeks. Now we're going to talk about today's topic, which is called the average rate of change. Average rate of change is just a fancy algebra term for something that you guys already know called slope. So the average rate of change is just a fancy way of saying slope. So if you say, what's the average rate of change of the following function? I have here a straight line. Remember, slope is the same thing as rise over run. So if I pick some points on this line, like maybe this point here, this point there, this point here, we're going to go up 2, and you're going to go to the right 1. So the slope is 2 over 1, which can be simplified to just be 2, and that's the average rate of change, 2. Remember, if it looks like that, it's positive, and if it's going downwards, it's negative. So let's take a look at number 2. What's the average rate of change? I'll pick a point there. I could put a point here. I could put a point here. And this would be going down 1 and to the right 2, or -1 over 2. So -1/2 is the average rate of change. So here we have what is average rate of change. Again, average rate of change is just a fancy way of saying slope, which is rise over run. And now here's where things get a little bit more complicated. All right, I will show you how to do a couple of these, and you guys can finish this on your own, and I'll post this to YouTube. What is the average rate of change over the interval 2 to 4? So here we have a non-linear function. It's not a straight line like the examples I did up there. So you can't just plot any old points you want. You have to do the slope or the rate of change from 2 to 4. So go to 2 and plot a point where the graph is, and go to 4 and plot where the graph is. And now we're just going to do rise over run to go to those 2 points. I see to go from the bottom red point to the top red point, we are going to be going up 3 spaces, and to the right 2 spaces. So up 3, right 2 means +3 over 2. So that is the rate of change just between those 2 spots. That's not the rate of change of the entire function. If I picked 2 different points, I would have gotten a different answer, but it told us to go from 2 to 4. So that's that one. Let me do one more with you, and I'll be in Google Meet if you guys have any questions. What is the average rate of change over the interval from 1 to 4? So go to 1 and plot the point, and go to 4 on the x-axis and plot the point up there. And to go from that dot to that dot, we're going up 1 and to the right 3. So the average rate of change is 1/3. So that's how you find the average rate of change graphically. And there's some questions underneath that you guys can work on. Question number 6, you have to do the graph first in GeoGebra and then answer the questions. All right, that's average rate of change.